Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a total garden heartbreak, diagnosing exactly why your raspberry plants are drying up and literally turning to dust right before your eyes.
Have you ever wondered why your raspberry plants are wilting despite your absolute best efforts? Trust me, you're not alone. It's an incredibly frustrating issue, right? But by breaking down the plant biology and pathology, we can solve this mystery together.
To get your berry patch thriving again, we're going to use a 6-part diagnostic approach, starting with basic care, moving through common causes and diagnoses, looking at solutions, expert tips, and finally wrapping up with a real-world success story.
Okay, Part 1. Introduction to Raspberry Plant Care. Let's establish a baseline for what a healthy raspberry plant actually needs.
You know, these plants can be a bit demanding. For optimal fruit, they absolutely need full sun and well-drained soil. If you've got heavy clay, think raised beds, because waterlogged soil will literally suffocate the roots. You're aiming for 1 to 2 inches of water a week through consistent, deep watering. Drip irrigation is your best friend here. And don't forget spacing. Keeping them 2 to 3 feet apart is a complete game changer for air circulation.
Moving on to Part 2. Common reasons for drying. It's actually wild how fast things go sideways when those basic needs aren't met. We have to split the usual suspects into 2 camps. First up, environmental stressors. We're talking extreme heat, severe drought, suffocating roots from bad drainage, or winter injury where canes just die back to the snow line. On the flip side, we have biological threats, which is a whole different beast. You've got aggressive fungi like Phytophthora and Verticillium, sneaky pests like the raspberry cane borer, and even bacterial infections like crown gall.
That brings us to Part 3, symptoms and diagnosis. The trick is figuring out exactly which of those culprits is attacking your patch.
But wait, before we diagnose, we have to define our terms, because this is where so many of us panic for absolutely no reason. You have to know the difference between first-year primicanes and second-year floricanes. Primicanes are your green vegetative growth. Floricanes are the woody second-year canes that actually give you the fruit. And here's the kicker. Floricanes naturally dry out and die after fruiting. So if only your older canes are drying up in late summer, take a breath. Your plant is perfectly healthy and just doing its thing.
Now, if the drying is genuinely abnormal, let's run through the diagnostic checklist. Step 1. Check the soil moisture at the base. Are we looking at a desert or a swamp? Step 2. Inspect the canes. Keep an eye out for purple lesions, a big red flag for fungal blight, or 2 tiny puncture rings, which is the exact calling card of the cane borer. Step 3. If the whole plant is wilting, peel back a little root bark. If you see a nasty chocolate brown color instead of healthy white tissue, yeah, you're likely dealing with Phytophthora root rot.
All right, Part 4, solutions and preventative measures. Once we nail down the diagnosis, we can start the treatment.
Matching specific symptoms to targeted solutions is absolutely crucial here. For instance, if you spot the bluish canes and yellowing leaves of Verticillium wilt, your move is crop rotation. Basically, never plant raspberries where tomatoes or potatoes just grew, because they share the same soil-borne pathogens. What about those puncture rings from the cane borer? You don't even need sprays. Just prune the cane below the punctures to physically remove the larvae. Boom, problem solved.
Beyond just reacting, let's talk about protecting your crop naturally. Switch to drip irrigation. Why? Because fungal spores spread like wildfire when water splashes on wet leaves. Keep the leaves dry and you starve the fungus. You can also opt for disease-resistant varieties like Heritage or Caroline. And don't sleep on companion planting. Tucking some garlic, chives, or marigolds nearby naturally deters pests and rolls out the red carpet for beneficial insects like ladybugs.
Let's check out Part 5, expert tips and best practices, to see what the pros recommend.
This right here is essentially the golden rule of raspberry care. Experts from UMass and the University of Minnesota all agree on one thing. Air circulation is literally your best fungicide. By keeping your rows to a narrow 18 inches and thinning things out to just 4 or 5 canes per foot, the wind and sun can rapidly dry the plants after a rainstorm. Oh, and never, ever prune in wet weather. Fungi love to sneak in through fresh pruning wounds when it's damp out.
Finally, Part 6. Case studies and success stories. Let's look at a fascinating real-world example.
Picture this. A home gardener out in Colorado had a lush, fruiting second-year raspberry plant. It was so thick with leaves you couldn't even see the pot it was in. But then, practically overnight, the whole thing collapsed and looked completely decimated.
Cue the immediate panic.
Because the die-off was so incredibly rapid, she naturally assumed a devastating fungal infection or some massive hidden pest had taken over. I mean, she was probably ready to chop it to the ground right then and there.
But here's where it gets interesting. An extension expert took a look and immediately checked the environmental stressors. It turned out this potted plant relied entirely on nearby lawn sprinklers. The plant had grown so lush that its own leaf canopy was acting like a giant umbrella, literally blocking the water from ever reaching the soil. It wasn't a fungus at all. It was just extreme drought stress caused by its own success. A good deep watering with a hose brought the plant completely back to life. So sometimes the scariest symptoms have the simplest fixes.
Just a quick heads up, while this explainer pulls from expert agricultural data, your specific garden's microclimate and soil are totally unique. Results will definitely vary, so if you're dealing with a really persistent mystery, it's always a smart move to reach out to a local horticultural pro or your university extension. And there you have it. We've untangled the mystery of the drying raspberry plant. Now it's your turn. Have you ever successfully brought a dying berry patch back to life, or are you currently battling a mystery wilt of your own? Ask yourself, are you unknowingly suffocating your plants with too much love, or is a biological predator lurking in your soil right now? Let us know in the comments. Keep observing, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.